Assalamu alaikum, students. Good afternoon. I'm Aurangzaib, and hope you all must be fine, safe, and secure. Students, we all are from the previous week. We are engaged in online teaching, online assessment, and online, different academic activities. This is the second week of the online teaching, and this is our probably the third, or if I'm not wrong, the fourth online lecture, recorded lecture, which we will, discuss in today's class. Basically, uh, we were talking about subject verb agreement. That while constructing a well grammatically good sentence, we need to write our the sentences. We need to use the verb according to the subject. That our verb must be in agreement with the subject. So that was all which we were discussing uh, in our the previous section, and we will continue the same chain, and it would be the second part of the same chain which we are going to discuss today. So in previous section we have discussed certain the rules of the nouns and pronoun, that when we use the noun singular or plural, what type of verb it should be we should use. So we were basically dealing with the use of the verb according to the noun or pronoun, that if the form of the noun is singular and the meaning of the noun is plural, then we need to use the plural verb. Then if the form of the noun is plural and the meaning is singular, then we you need to use the singular verb. So therefore there were so many other rules which we have discussed. Hopefully you people will remember all of them. If you, as far as the today's lecture is concerned, at the end of this lecture you would be able to know that how pronoun rules may become effective while using the verb, and how you can say the adjective and adverbs would help you to construct the good sentences. Like, let's start with, today we will talk about the rules for pronoun while making subject verb agreement strong. There are so many, there are three types of pronouns: first person, second person, third person. And within the first person there are, singular I, plural we. Within the second person we have same pronoun for the singular and plural, and for the you can say the third person we have he for female, male, she for female, and they for the plural, and we will talk about the third person. Okay, so all of these pronouns, they take different verb as in comparison to the other, because they all are of a different nature. So therefore we need to observe that what type of pronoun has been used while and while observing that form of the pronoun, we need to decide what type of verb we will use. Okay, so let's see what we have. We have discussed 11 rules related to the nouns for making it agree with the verb. Now we'll carry on from where we have left. The rule number 12 we will discuss in this section. Basically, the rule number 12 is the object of a verb or of a preposition when it is a pronoun should be in objective form. Okay, so the first rule is that when we are going to use object of a verb, when we are going to use the pronoun as an object of a verb or as an object of a preposition, it should be taken care that we have used the objective form of the pronoun. We have studied the different forms of the you can say the pronoun, that there are three major forms: subjective, objective, and possessive. As far as the first person I is concerned, the first person I have me as an objective form, whereas my, or you can say mine, as a possessive form. Whereas the first person we has us as an objective form, and our, and you can say uh, our, ours and our are possessive form. Same is the case with the you. You is using you as the same form for objective and subjective, but for possessive we use your. Whereas if you talk about the third person, he for subjective, him for objective, and his for possessive, then she for subjective, her for objective, and sorry, possessive, and her for objective as well. Then it for the for singular, and it's for both subjective, it for subjective and objective, at the same time it's for possessive. And then plural they, if you talk about the they, them for objective, and their for possessive. So these are the different forms of you can say the pronoun. So when a pronoun is used as an object of a verb or a preposition, it should take the objective form. Like, look at this: between you and me, not I. We shouldn't use between you and I, affairs look dark. It means we are using this me as an object of preposition between. That's why we have used the term me rather than I. So between you and me, affairs are look dark rather than between you and I. Same is the case with, look at this one. Let him do it. So here, him is working as an object of the verb let. It is working as an object of the verb let. That's why we have used its objective form, that is him, rather than subjective form, that is he. Okay, so remember, whenever a pronoun is working as an object of a preposition, they would be written in objective form. And when a say and the same similarly, when a pronoun is used as an object of a verb, they would be written in an objective form as well. Okay, so that's the rule number 12. Now, the rule number 13 states that a pronoun directly after than or as is usually in the objective case, unless there is a verb after it. If a verb follows it, the nominative form is whenever we will use a pronoun after, you can say, the objective form. Whereas if it is not followed by a verb. If it follows a verb, it should be written in objective form rather than in subjective. But if it follows a verb, it should be used in nominative form. I swim better than him. Okay? I swim better than him. Here in this sentence, look at the him. Him is used after then. Okay, we have used that whenever the object is used after then and as, they will take an objective form. But if they are followed by a, let's forget about the verb, just remember this thing: if a pronoun, it comes directly after then and as, it will take an objective form. Like, I swim better than him, he looks, he is as beautiful as me. So what we are talking about, me as after the as we have used objective form. Same is the case with I swim better than him. So here him is an objective form because it has followed, it is followed by that, it comes after the that. Then I swim better than he does. Here we have used the verb after this thing as this pronoun. That's why we have to use it in a nominative, or you can say in a subjective form. This is the more formal way of writing something, and but it is old fashioned. Nowadays, people use this thing, I swim better than him, because the verb is understood in this sentence. Therefore, we do not need to write down the verb. But if you talk about this sentence, in this sentence, we have explicitly write the verb does, which shows that we need to change this pronoun from objective form to subjective. Okay, so remember this rule as well, that whenever a pronoun is written after, directly after than, and as it should be written in objective form. But if after the pronoun we have to use a verb as well, then we need to write it its subjective form. Then we'll talk about the following rule number 14, that following nouns are usually uncountable in English, like advice, news, information. We have discussed in the previous section as well, that there are certain nouns which are taken as, which are uncountable and taken as, the singular. Advice, news, information, furniture, luggage, work, business, weather, traffic, scenery, paper, writing material, whatsoever, bread. If you are thinking of one separate item or unit of an uncountable thing, you may say a piece of a bottle, etc. Like whenever we are going to talk about these things, we will say a piece of, we will add a phrase, a piece of with that. Like he gave me an advice. Okay, but the right sentence would be he gave me a piece of advice, because it is an uncountable. We cannot write and with it. Okay, and is, we use and when we are talking about single thing. So since it is uncountable, it cannot be one, two, three, four, five. That's why we cannot write. You can say and. So right sentence: he gave me some advice, or he gave me a piece of advice. Okay, so these are the more acceptable way. Then the sceneries here are very good. No, the sceneries are here are very good. The right sentence would be the scenery here is very good. There is no plural of the sceneries. So therefore, the scenery should be scenery rather than the sceneries. Okay. So remember this thing. In this, what we have learned from this rule, we have learned that there are certain nouns who are uncountable in nature, especially in English language. So whenever we are going to use them, we need to write them as, you can say, singularly, or we need to write a piece of paper, or you can say a group of, a herd of, a bulk of, like stuff with those words to make them uncountable as well. Okay, so this is the rule number 14. Then have a look at the rule number 15. Basically, the indefinite it is related to the indefinite pronoun. Indefinite pronoun is the pronoun where we are not sure about that how many people, how many person it is referring to. Okay, these refer to something that is unspecified. Okay, like singular: anybody, anyone, anything, each, either, everybody, everyone, everything, neither, nobody, no one, nothing, no one, somebody. Some of these all are singular indefinite pronoun, but plural indefinite pronoun would be both, few, some, many, several. And singular or plural can be used all, any, most, none, some. So these are the different forms of indefinite pronoun. So rule number 15 basically talks about indefinite pronoun, that every man and woman in this hall is a member. So what we have done, basically, men and women, there are two nouns who are joined with the help of and, but we have used every. The pronoun is, the indefinite, so therefore we have to use the singular. Okay, every man and woman in this hall is a member. Okay, are a member nahi hoga. Then the few, look at the few were attending the seminar. Here, few is referring to plural, every is referring to singular, few is referring to plural. That's why we have used were, and that's why we have used is. Both are indefinite pronoun, but the singularity and plurality, the number is different. One is singular in number, whereas the other one is plural in number. So therefore, if the pronoun is singular in number, we will use singular verb, and if the pronoun is plural in number, we will use the plural verb. So that's the rule number 15. Sorry. Then again, it is the rule number 15 related to indefinite pronouns. Some indefinite pronouns can be either singular or plural. There are few of them which we have discussed that they can be singular and they can be plural as well, and are determined by the object in the prepositional phrase. So they can be determined by the prepositional phrase. Look at the most of the class is in the gym. Okay, most of the class is in the gym. So we are talking about class. We're talking about most. Then why we have used is? Because we are talking about majority. So here, most of the is taken as this is an indefinite pronoun working, but still it is working as a majority. Then none of those students were present. So none of those students here, basically, this is the thing. None of those students present was present in yoga. None of those students were present. None of those students were present. So they were not present at all. Then the rule number 16, when the subject of a verb is relatively when the subject of a verb is relatively a relative pronoun, when the subject of a verb is a relative pronoun, care should be taken to see that the verb agrees in number and person with the antecedent of the relative. So when we are using relative, what is, first of all, we need to know that what is a relative pronoun. Relative pronoun is actually a pronoun which helps to relate the two clauses, one main and one independent. It can relate, the two clauses with each other. So since they are relating the two different concepts, therefore they are called relative pronoun, and they would be referring something. The pronoun which we will attach with the subordinate clauses will be referring the subject or the object of the main clause. So when the subject of a verb is relative pronoun, we need to take in care that the verb agrees in number and person with its antecedent. Antecedent is basically to whom the verb is referring, whom the pronoun is referring. Like Aslam is a boy, he is very intelligent. Here in this sentence, he is pronoun, but it is referring to Aslam. So Aslam is antecedent. Okay, so we need to remember that uh, we need to use the verb according to its antecedent. This is one of the most interesting novels that have appeared this year. Look, here we have used the most interesting novel. This is one of the most interesting novels. That is relative pronoun. Okay, since that is, we are talking about novels. That's why we have used the have. Okay, so it is referring to novels is referring to the most interesting sort of novels what have appeared in this year. Then antecedent of that is novels. Okay, the word novels, that is basically pronoun, and it is referring to novels that appeared in this year. Therefore we have used have. So according to that, there is a short exercise like the following sentences, like he has eaten two breads, I have an important work to do. So we have choose the correct option, that she is one of the best mothers that has or have ever lived. Tyranny is one of those evils which tend to perpetuate itself or themselves. So we need to answer them while observing it carefully. There is a key as well. So we will talk about the first sentence. He has eaten two breads. So we have used, if you talk about you can say, so you will come up with your answers when you will talk about this sentence. You must have a logic that how it should be corrected. Then I have an important work to do. Okay, we need to correct it as well. I have an important work and he has eaten two breads. We need to you need to come up with the correction. I'll ask you people. Then the choose the correct option. She is one of the best mothers that ever lived. That has ever lived or that have ever lived. So since that is, I'm not going to give you the hint. You are going to solve it yourself. Then the tyranny is one of those evils which tend to perpetuate. You need to do it yourself. The exercise number 2, which you will come up with the correction, that leave Nell and I are me to toil lawn. Then you and are intended to be his mother. So this is an exercise. You have to come up with the solution. Then the rules for adjective, which we are going to discuss today. Rule number 17. We will continue the chain of the rules which we were talking about, that the words superior, inferior, senior, junior, prior, anterior, and posterior, take to instead of than. So there are certain words which are, earlier in nature, like superior, inferior, senior, junior, prior, anterior, and posterior. They always take to after them rather than then. So many times we make mistakes, like as a novelist Jane Austen is superior than Mrs. Henry Wood is a wrong sentence. So what we need to do, a novelist Jane Austen is superior to Mrs. Henry. Like he is junior to Aslam. He is junior than me is a wrong sentence. Okay, then he is inferior to you. This is also a correct. We cannot write he is inferior to rest of the class. Okay, so he is superior to his family. So he than his family. He is superior to his family is correct. Than is wrong. Okay, so keep this rule in your mind as well. Then the rule number 18, a very common form of error is exemplified in the following sentence. So you need to understand that what type of example has been written. The population of of London is greater than any city in India. Okay, the population of London is greater than any city in India. The second, the population of London is greater than that of any city in India. Okay, so that is the correct sentence, because when you are going to write is greater than, then you have to write it any other. Okay, so you cannot then that of any. Okay, when you are talking about greater than, then that of you are referring something. So it is a common rule which we need to understand, that when somebody say that uh, that his you can say the grandson is intelligent, yeah, he is more intelligent than his other sons. Okay, so it will not be a right sentence. We will have to write it that his grandson is intelligent, yeah, he is more intelligent than any of his other sons. Okay, so any would be used with other. So that this is the common rule which we need to understand. Then the rules of verbs which we need to understand as well. Rule number 19, carefully distinguish between the verbs lay and lie. So we need to understand the difference, that they are the different verbs. Lie means to tell a lie, whereas lay means to lie down at the bed. Okay, so lay down. So lay means letna, whereas lie means jhoot bolna. So we need to first of all need to differentiate between them. The verb lay is transitive. It is transitive. It follows an object after it. Okay, whereas and is always followed by an object, whereas the verb lie is intransitive and cannot have an object. Look at the example: lay, laid, laid. Lay the child on the sleep. The hen has laid an egg. On the other hand, lie, lay, lain. Let me lie here. He lay under that full tree. Okay, so here lay means to lay down. Now you must have understood that lay means to lay down. Okay, or you lay in a, then if you talk about the lie, it is always used, tell me lie here, let me lie here. So here it is working as a intransitive. So we need to understand the difference between both of them. Then the rule number 20, a common blunder is to leave participle without proper agreement or with no agreement at all. Okay, so try to understand this. A common blunder is to leave the participle without proper agreement. Like if you are going to write a sentence and you are using participle, and you there is no agreement between the verb, or it has not at all, you are not the wrong agreement, or there is no agreement. So in both of these cases your sentence would be wrong. Like sitting on the gate, a scorpion stung him. What is here? Basically, there is no agreement. Sitting on the gate, a scorpion stung him, because here is the we have using the pronoun, but that is it's antecedent, or you can say that the referent is missing to whom it is referring. It is missing. Sitting on the grate, he was stung by a scorpion. So we have used the proper pronoun here. Okay. Therefore, that's why he was stung. So we have verb was missing. So we have to add it. Now, the other sentence, because this is the sitting on the gate is a participle form. Okay, so therefore it requires to have a proper agreement. He was stung. Then, being a very hot day, I remained in my tent. Okay, this is a wrong sentence. Being as it was very hot day, I remained in my tent. So being a very hot day cannot be, have no capacity for take the verb being. So therefore, we need to use as it was a very hot. Okay, so same as the scorpion stung him. Gate is not. He was stung by a scorpion. We need to meet a passage. So therefore, whenever we are using participle form, we need to understand that it has an agreement within the sentence, and it has used the proper form or not. Okay. The rule number 21, the following verbs are often wrongly used with the to infinitive. Okay, then sometimes we use the wrong verbs oftenly with infinitive. Enjoy, avoid, miss, postpone, suggest. They should be used with the gerund. Okay, so remember these things, students. Remember this thing that whenever we are going to use these verbs, they should be used with the gerund, like he enjoys swimming. Okay, often wrongly used with infinitive. We often wrongly we say he enjoys to swim. This is wrong. He enjoys swimming is right. She avoids meeting people. She avoids to meet people is a wrong. She avoids meeting people is a correct sentence. So whenever we are going to use infinitive like enjoy, like avoid, like miss, like postpone, like suggest, we need to remember that they should be followed by a gerund rather than an infinitive. Okay, whenever we are going to use these verbs, the swimming, enjoy, avoid, miss, postpone, they always take gerund after them rather than infinitive. Okay, what is gerund? When we use the participle form as a noun, that is called gerund. And when we use participle form, or you can say the progressive form, the ing form, and when we use the base form with to or without to, it is called infinitive. So we need to remember this rule. So here is also an exercise which we need to perform. Bar in Surat, a part of his education was received in Mumbai. So you will come up with the solution of this exercise as well. So that's all from today, students. We have discussed that what is what are the different rules of pronoun. We have discussed like we started that what are the rules of the pronoun, and we have discussed different types of pronoun. Then we came up with that a pronoun should always be used in objective form when it becomes the object of a preposition, or when it is used after the verb. Whenever it will be used after a verb, it will take the objective form, and whenever it will come after the objective, it will take objective form as well. Then the rule number 13 we have discussed that then and as always when we will use the object after the then it will be used in objective case. But if it will be followed by a verb, then it will be used in a subjective case. Then we have also discussed the following. There are certain nouns which are uncountable in nature, so we need to make sure that we have used them rightly, that there should not be any singular thing related to that, like there should not be, sorry, any plural, like we have used an advice. So it is uncountable, so there should be some advice or a piece of advice. And same is the case with the sceneries are wrong because they are uncountable, so therefore the scenery is scenery, there is not scenery. Then the rule number 15 we have discussed indefinite pronoun. That indefinite pronoun is a pronoun which where we are not specified, where which not sure. So there are different types: singular, plural, and singular plural. that some pronouns are singular, some are plural, and some are both singular as well as plural. So while observing this rule, we need to take care that first of all, every in first sentence, the every is singular, so therefore the verb is singular. In second case, few is not, it is used as singular as well as plural, so therefore the verb would be plural. Then we have also talk about indefinite pronoun. That indefinite pronoun is always, you can say, it is singular or plural and are determined the object or purpose. Like you have written the most of the class. It is singular. None of the students. Those students. So here it is referring the that we have discussed the relative pronoun when it is referring to its antecedent, so it should taken care that the verb should be according to the antecedent of that here that novel, that is referring to the novel, so we have used the novels take the plural verb. Then this exercise has been assigned to you people. You need to come up with the solution of that exercise. Then we have discussed the rules for adjective, that there are few adjectives like superior, inferior, senior, junior, superior, that they always take to after them rather than than. Okay, so instead of using than, we should use to after them. He's inferior to me, he's junior to me, he's superior to us. Okay, so we need to remember this. In the rule number 18, we have discussed that there are certain rules which are too simple to understand, that whenever we will talk about that the population of the London is greater than any city in India, so we will talking about, we should not write any city, which is any greater than that of any city. That of any city means that of, we are talking about India. Then we have talked about the rules of the verbs, that the rule number 19, that there are certain verbs which are used transitive and intransitive, and we need to understand the difference between lay and lie. That lay is used as, you can say, transitive, whereas the lie is used as intransitive. Rule number 20 has also been discussed, that whenever we are going to use participle, we need to make sure that there should be a proper agreement between, you can say, the participle and the verb. And sometimes we make a blunder by using wrong agreement, or by using without any agreement. In the first sentence, there is no agreement, whereas in the second sentence, being there is a wrong agreement. So we need to remember this, that agreement should be accurate. Then we have used that there are few verbs like enjoy, miss, postpone, suggest. They always take gerund after them. They are always followed by a gerund. So rather than infinitive. So we need to understand that whenever we are going to use this verb, there should be a gerund after them rather than the infinitive, like he enjoys swimming, she avoids meeting the people, etc. So that then there was an exercise. So that's all which we have discussed today. Hopefully, you people have understood. In next session, in next recorded lecture, I will talk about the other rules of adverb. Okay, related to the subject verb agreement. So up till now, thank you very much for listening me. That's all from my side as far as this lecture is concerned. So I hope that you people will you will come up with your question. You will try to have you can say, try to go through all these rules, and you will discuss all these rules with me when we will come up in an interactive session, and you will ask different questions. Please, I'll post this lecture at Google Classroom. Go to the Google Classroom, listen the lecture, and come up with the question. You can ask me through WhatsApp group. You can ask me through uh, you can say Google Classroom. You can post your questions at Google Classroom. You can post your misunderstanding, whatsoever you are unable, confusions in at the Google Classroom. I'm bound to answer all of those questions. Then you can also email me, and I will answer you through the email as well. Okay. So I expect you people that you will not disappoint me this time, and you will come up with your questions. Okay. Thank you very much. And there would be a question at the end of the session of this week related to the rules of the grammar. So please be careful while studying these rules. Be careful while discussing these things with me. So there should be the complete clarity of your thoughts, because there are so many people who, when they go to the market, they made mistakes of different, the rules of the grammar, common mistakes which are nowadays, which are not acceptable even in a a smallest industry as well. So if you especially being the student of media and management sciences, you need to understand that the correct use of the language is very important. And if a person does not know how to use the English language correctly, he will not be able to cope up with the competitive market. Okay, so therefore I request you people to come up with your question, to come up with with your confusion, so that we may be able to solve them in the interactive session, so that it may help us to gain something out of our session. So that's all from today. Thank you very much. Remember me in your prayers. We will discuss these rules in interactive session. But if you have come up with a detailed reading of these things, okay. Thank you very much, students. One thing more, there are few rules which has been left. We will talk about these rules in next recorded session. So you need to go through all of these sections, so that we can make clarity in our correction clarity or correction, that how to use English correctly, how to use it in an acceptable way, so that there should not be any embarrassment for us in the future life. Okay. Thank you very much, students. I'm going to stop the recording. Allah.